Out of poverty to middle class till we moved to Canton. I was in about 4th grade. I felt happy that actually I could keep up with the other kids when it came to clothing and possessions and vacations. I felt happy that I finally had what other people had, that our family had a car, that we ate meat and chicken instead of eating cube steak and chicken wings. When I was a young child and we were poor, I really didn't realize it until I moved away. We were living in the projects and everybody around me was poor, so there was nothing to compare it to. We didn't have the media that we have today. And when we moved to Cheshire, there was a huge gap between the way I lived and the people around me lived. We lived in a 3-bedroom apartment. All my friends lived in big houses. I didn't realize we ate differently till I ate at other people's houses. I didn't realize that other people had cars and didn't ride the bus. I didn't realize that other people had possessions that I didn't have. I didn't realize that other kids didn't have clothes that were made by their parents. My biggest fear when we moved from the projects to the wealthy community of Cheshire was that the people around me were going to be able to look at me and think I was poor and look down upon me. There was a huge gulf between what they had and what I did not have. I thought people would judge me because I'd lived in a 3-room apartment when they lived in a 4-bedroom house. I felt like because my clothes were made by my mother and they wore designer clothes, that they'd look down upon me and think less of me. I thought that somebody could just look at me and see that I was poor, even though looking back on it, I probably looked very similar to the kids around me. I was fearful that when I got into a confrontation with somebody, I always thought it was because I was poor and they were rich and they didn't like me because I was poor.
I don't feel that we grew up poor. We had a lot of love, enough food, and a great environment, living with my grandparents and trying to save money until we could get our own house. I don't even look at it as expectations that my parents had of me. We had to help pick the tomatoes from the garden and lug them up to the house. We snapped the string beans so that they could be cooked. We had a much more involved part of putting food onto the table. Everyone helping each other, meaning our neighbors, our friends, our family, us babysitting for them babysitting for us while we were taking on small jobs, working at a bookstore, helping each other out, living in an apartment next to a park, so we had some kind of recreation that was always available, and taking the city bus from place to place, not owning a car and paying insurance. A lot of these things you plan out to make things easier for yourself while you're in that lifestyle.
When I had my son, I was a single mother. I chose to stay at home, and we lived somewhat in poverty because I had to watch every penny. I had to live off of the money that I had saved. So we were living economically without a lot of extras. I had to go to Goodwill. I had to buy things from tag sales. My son had everything he needed, but it still was a sad feeling that my son was going to be in poverty.
Washing her clothes in the river is just unbelievable. And of course we have that beautiful Samsung washer in our basement. I appreciate all of the hard work that she put into coming to this country, working hard, being able through her work to own 2 homes and helping us along the way.
Looking back on being poor, I realized that you can't base your self-worth on how much money you have, because no matter how much money you have, you still have problems. But also, when I look back, I realize how much I learned about life and how much I learned about how to make do without. I learned how to find the best clothing, find the best foods, by using the resources around me with the least amount of money possible. It taught me that I'm a powerful person no matter how much money I have. You're gonna